The fourth stall, chapter 25. Staples stood next to the sink near the fourth stall from the high window and glared at me. I took the silence as a chance to ask something that had been bothering me ever since I'd found out that Fred was the snitch. I guess there's one thing I don't get, though, and that's why. Why would you send in Fred to reveal yourself when you could have just operated right under my nose? I asked. You can't figure it out for yourself? Staples sneered. I thought you were the genius or something. Well, I'll spell it out for you then. Rumor had it you ran a pretty tight business, that you solved everybody's problems. And well, I knew that eventually all the little wusses around here would go and whine and cry to you about how they lost all their money and Staples is threatening me and blah, blah, blah. And you'd stick your big nose into my business. So I struck first. I knew that if I could take out your lame little business, that I'd be home free to do whatever I wanted around school. So I sent Fred in, and I knew that if I gave him a story where he'd need constant protection, you'd keep him close enough to get all the information I'd need to wipe you out. Because that's one thing my deadbeat father actually taught me. He taught me, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. And sure enough, it didn't take long for me to know everything. The money is just a bonus. Once Fred told me about your emergency fund, it became all about getting that first. Once Fred told me about your argument with your friend, I saw my chance both to get the money and finish you off in one move. I could have wiped you out in just a few days if I really wanted to. I saw Fred looking at the floor, appearing more sheepish than ever. Staples laughed. He sounded like a maniac. I tried to warn you to just back off, too. I sent you so many warnings. At first, I was only trying to make sure that you'd stayed out of my way, but no, you kept on pushing. You didn't mind your own business. You didn't mind your own business, and then you forced me to take you out. You're such a stubborn little pest trying to play gangster like it's some game. I thought about what he'd said. It didn't really add up. He had been trying to take me out from the beginning. He had just told me so. He only delayed and sent warnings to keep me off his back long enough to give Fred a chance to steal my money. No, he was trying to turn the tables and make me doubt myself. I never wanted to hurt you, Christian, but you kept bringing it on yourself. No, this is your fault, Barry, not mine. I'm not the one with the dirty business. I make my money by providing a service, not by cheating kids. Plus, you did want to hurt me. How else can you explain sending Willis and that other kid after me or trying to kill me with your car? You're jealous, aren't you? That's what you've had it out for me from the beginning. You're jealous that I have a business that works without cheating. That some little kid can run a smoother and more profitable business than you, and you're jealous that I have a dad who's not some drunken deadbeat slob. Staples shook his head. He seemed at a loss for words. Finally, he said, "No, Christian, you're wrong." His teeth were pressing together, and spit flew from his mouth when he talked. That's when my phone rang. All three of us looked at it as it sat in my hand. "Excuse me," I said, and flipped the phone open. "Hey, Mac, we got it. All of it. It worked perfectly," Vince's voice said. He sounded as excited as I've ever heard him. "Good," I said, and smiled at Staples. He did not smile back. We got almost all of our money back. It was in a lockbox under the floorboards, right where Tyrrell knew to look. And we got documents and business records and all kinds of incriminating stuff, too. "How are things there?" Vince said. "Good. Hang on a minute, Vince," I said. "What? What?" Staples said. He sounded menacing, but he looked worried. "They got it," I said. "They got it all. They even found my money under the floorboards." That's when Staples moved like lightning. He stepped forward and smacked the phone right into my hands. It smashed into the concrete wall and shattered into the floor in several pieces. I backed up, but I had nowhere to go. "What are you doing? They'll call the cops," I said. But I wasn't sure if they actually would. We never actually thought it would come to that. "You really think the cops would care about some kid taking bets?" Staples said. "They will when the perp has a list of priors as long as California. I know you're on probation, so one little incident and you're going to prison. You have to write You'll have to write me, Barry, and let me know what the slammer is like. I've always been curious about that." Staples' eyes turned pure red. His hands made fists, and I heard his teeth grind together. He punched near my stall door, and it dented with a bang. I flinched. Then he punched the mirror, and it splintered, and a few shards shattered on the tile floor. I looked at his fist as he turned to face me. It wasn't pretty. Well, it doesn't look like I have a choice then, does it? Staples said with such intense venomous that it almost made me want to die in fear right there on the spot. Your choice is to leave my school forever or go to prison, I said quietly. No, no, I don't have a choice. You're a a sneaky little liar, and you're going to turn me in no matter what I say, aren't you? He said, taking a few more steps towards me. I backed up more and realized that I was now cornered. I was it, I was back by the high window with nowhere to go. No, I wouldn't do that. I keep my word. A deal's a deal. Right, just like you lied to me to get me here, right? He said. No, that was just, I mean, I swear I'll give your stuff back. All I want is my money that you stole, I said, trying to take the offensive. He laughed and moved within a few feet of me. Well, there's one thing your little friends can do whatever they want with the stuff they stole from my shed. Let them call the cops. All you need to worry about is the fact that you will pay for it. He was speaking so harshly that his spit sprinkled my face. I'm already going to prison, right? So who cares if they add more time for what I'm about to do to you? I knew he was done bargaining. Staples had gone off the deep end. I kicked out my foot at his shin, but he was too fast. He stepped away, and my kick, and I lost my balance. Then he moved like mongoose like speed and grabbed my wrist. His bony fingers dug into my arm. I yelped in pain and tried to get away, but his grip was like a bear trap. Fred, help me, I yelled. He just cowered even more in his chair. His feet were up on the seat and his arms were wrapped around his legs. He was basically curled into a little ball like an armadillo under duress. At that point, I realized that I had no choice but to fight dirty. I grabbed the hand that was holding my wrist and pulled my face to it. He tried to push my head away with his other hand, but it was too late. I didn't really want to do it, but I closed my eyes and bit. Staples yelled in pain and let go of me. Then I ran. I ran out the door of the bathroom and then quickly out the east wing entrance to the upper grade playground. I stopped and looked back to see if he was following me. He was only like 10 feet behind me and closing the distance quickly. I panicked and ran down the hill leading to the football field. I could hear Staples right behind me growling like a rabid dog. When I got to the bottom, I crouched and grabbed a handful of gravel. I spun around while backpedaling and threw it at his face. He yelled and turned away from me. I kicked into high gear and headed toward the street. I knew it would not take long for him to catch me on foot, but if I could just get somewhere more visible to passing cars. I didn't even get close. His legs were longer and stronger. I had gotten only 30 yards down the football field when I felt someone shove me hard in the back and I went sprawling onto the ground. My elbows scraped over the dry fall grass. It burned and the wind got knocked right out of me. I felt my elbow moisten with blood and I tried to catch my breath, but then he was on me. He grabbed my shirt and lifted me off the ground easily. I could have kicked him or something, but I was too busy trying to get some air into my lungs. I wheezed as he carried me by my shirt collar back toward the parking lot. As I finally caught my breath, Staples set me on my feet. His hand moved from my shirt to the back of my neck where it clamped down so hard I thought my head was going to fall off. Don't try and run again or you're dead, he whispered in my ear. He guided me towards the red sports car. Now get in. He opened the passenger door to the red sports car and I did as I was told. Fear swelled inside me like a teacup being filled with a garden hose. I'd never been more scared in my whole life. I was too scared to even try to think of a way out of this. He got in the car and started driving. I had no idea where he was headed, but it was out near the edge of town. He headed past the Walmart and just kept going. I looked out the window as the farm field passed by. I kept imagining Staples making me dig my own grave out of some farmer's deserted cow pasture, imagining your own death as a way of making you feel pretty sick.